Disclaimer.
What's the most fucked up thing a complete stranger has done to you? Sit next to me on the bus when there's a single seat on the other side. Whoever does that is a menace to society. Sometimes when you know the next stop is gonna be a shit show, you play it safe and sit next to the person you know doesn't smell like piss instead of the gamble that a piss smeller will sit next to you. I had a guy walk up to the urinal right beside me when there were 4 others in between us. Sociopath. That's just sexual harassment. It isn't though, but it is. I don't know where I'm going with this. Dude, this reminded me of a memory I thought I'd lost. The year I turned 18, my friends and I went to a bar on a St. Paddy's Day, and the urinal was so small you had to be shoulder to fit 2 people. So at multiple points during the night a friend and I had to go together. Each time the same guy would try to squeeze between us and ask, "Scarnon boys? Having a good night?" Stopped at a red light one time. Someone from a building adjacent to the light threw a bag of ice and water on my car from a few stories up. Dented the roof and shattered the windshield. Wasn't even a nice car, I was driving a Dodge Neon shitbox. Reminds me of something. Some asshole tossed a lock, like the combination type, out of a car at me and hit me in the knee. I had trouble walking correctly for damn near a month. I always thought if they'd have stopped at a light I'd have hurled that bitch right back. Good thing they didn't. I wasn't in any condition for a fight. What the hell? About 25 years ago, I was walking home from school. A car slowly crept up behind me, and a guy on the passenger side did a hook shot over the roof of the car and just missed me with a combination lock. Is this a thing? I am 40 years old now, but it happened when I was between 12 and 14 because I was walking home from my middle school. Is lock throwing an actual thing? You are quite literally the first person I have ever heard saying this happened. Anyone I told figured it was some kind of one-off situation, but I was alone at the time so no one saw it but me. I still have the lock in my old dresser drawer at my parents'. That's where you park up in visibility, enter the building with an empty gasoline can. They don't know that. 3 minutes later, quickly exit the building having hidden the gasoline can somewhere not quickly discoverable. Watch the asshole panic as he thinks you've set the building on fire. No man. You don't kick down a guy in a neon. That person is intimate enough with the struggle. Wait for a beamer. No kick intended, just a light-hearted jab. Hope you're past the struggle these days. No worries. Wasn't taken like that, more a light-hearted fig at Beamer boys cause their reputation. It was about 20 years ago now. Still driving shitboxes, but these days it's by choice. This happened to me back in the 70s. I was riding in a car that my best friend's mother was driving on a highway. There was me, my friend, her brother and couple of other kids in the car. The age range for the kids was about 7 to 9 years old. It was a warm day, and my friend's mother had her window rolled down, no air conditioning. A car full of teenagers pulled alongside of her and someone threw a full cup of ice water through the window at her. I got hit by it too because I was sitting in the front seat next to her. She managed not to lose control of the car. In retrospect, it was incredibly fucked up to try and cause a lady with a car full of kids to crash. Me, a child, playing with toys in Walmart. A random stranger, "I'd like you to play with my little boy toy." My dad, just on the other end, watching me, doesn't say a word to the man, just grabs him and throws him across the aisle. Then screams out, "If you want to play with him, you're gonna have to play with me first." Seems obvious, but the police is always the right move in these cases. My daughter encountered a flasher at a cafe when she and her friend were 17. They were mainly embarrassed and didn't want to report it. They did report it, and the guy turned out to have several charges already pending and had his gynecologist's license revoked in another state. These people thrive on you not reporting them. Drugged out couple walked up to me and touched my nipples at a festival. That's an OSHA violation. Office of Super Handsy Assholes? Offense against super handsome anthropoid. I was sitting at a cafe with my then partner. A man came up to our table, held finger guns at my temple and whispered, "I wish I fucking could." And then yanked my hair and rushed out. It was completely unprovoked. I've technically had more violent and scary things happen to me, but that stuck with me for a really long time. I think it's because I had been having a lovely day until that point. I was so excited to be sitting in a cute cafe, eating pie with my date. And now I can't get the image of her face falling as she looked at the man out of my head. We went home after that. That awful. I have some potentially dangerous patients who the doctors give day leave, and I often wonder how it goes. I'm imagining this is how. I hope you're okay. The weird unexplained stuff is harder to process. Drugs are a hell of a drug. I was about 11 and me and some friends were standing on a small bridge over a lake. All of a sudden I was picked up and thrown over the railing into the lake below. I tried to grab onto anything I could as I fell and scrapped my arms up pretty good. I still have scars 30 years later. So I swim to the side and some older kid comes up to me and just say, "Sorry, I thought you were someone else." Gotta give the kid credit that he came to apologize. It was a lie, chief. One time I was in South Philly and a car pulled up with two guys in it. They called out to me asking for directions, so I walked over. As I was explaining where to go, the dude in the passenger seat spit in my face and they sped off. Complimented my penis. I was at a camp shower at a campground. I was around 12. Some random guy walked in and just stared at me and watched me take a shower making weird small talk. This was the late 70s, early 80s. Kids weren't special yet and we basically were raised you just be polite to adults, so I was yes sir and no sir the creep. The Adam Walsh TV movie changed all of that and parents were like, "Hey, maybe we should watch our kids a little bit?" He didn't rape me, so I guess that's a plus. "Hey, nice cock." "Thank you sir." Was a kid trying my best to become the next Tony Hawk. I tried doing an oil eye on the sidewalk next to a busy road, ate shit in front of a bunch of people, and some dude driving by with his window down yells out, "You suck." Similar thing happened to me. Was trying to do a trick on a skateboard on a normal street and crashed. Some adult walking past was like, her cool trick," in a mean tone. Like fuck me for trying? It wasn't even that bad, but the memory has always stuck with me. Maybe 'cause it was early in my life and was a point that taught me that people will judge you for being bad at something. But that's a 20-year-old memory now. I was walking in a mall with my sister and this really huge guy walked past me, and as he walked past he basically groped me down there. I'm a female for reference. I asked WTF really loudly and looked back, and he just kept walking on and didn't look back. I wasn't sure what to make of that situation. Wasn't an ex-president of the United States, was it? A guy sneezed in my face on the subway, and after shitting on him verbally he just shrugged and made it out to be no big deal. Since I couldn't do anything but verbally abuse him, I left to find another seat. 2 days later I almost reached her 41 degrees. Haven't been sick like that my whole life. Literally and figuratively. I'm still wearing masks in subs 'cause of this shit. A man did this to my wife in peak COVID hysteria 2020. Fuck people like that. I parked completely within the lines of a parking space. Did nothing wrong. Received a note on my car, "Learn to park, asshole." Rolled up to this note after a long day of dealing with young children. A man was walking by and I showed him the note and asked him if he thought it was warranted. He told me to crumble the note up and forget about it. I parked completely fine. Hope whoever wrote that note got some nice karma coming to them. Meanwhile, one of my biggest pet peeves is when people park straddling the parking lines. And yet I am the one who received a note. Cool. Edit. Now I've read a few of the replies on here and maybe I should just delete mine. I didn't get punched in the face or hurt. Just felt the inconsideration and unjust rudeness from a stranger. Could it be that someone near your car parked like a twat and then just moved the note onto your car before they left? I used to work at a hospital that issued parking tickets for people leaving their vehicles in handicap spaces without a permit, or in the drop-off parking for a long time. We had a regular patient, came twice a week for some scheduled procedure, and he would always park in the handicap spots even though he didn't have a permit or need one. Whenever he got a ticket he'd put it on the car next to his and drive away. We'd get a lot of angry people showing up saying they don't deserve a ticket. You can also watch other videos by going to the channel. I will be pleased if you like them.